Hey everyone, welcome. Today I'm going to be doing a little flight tutorial on the Zibo 737-800. I'm going to be showing you how to get this thing started from a cold and dark state. Enter FMC information, get the autopilot set up, taxi, takeoff, all the way up to our cruising altitude. We're going to be heading to Miami International on this flight, so without further ado, let's get you in here and show you how to get this thing started. So the first thing I do is I hit ground services. If you noticed out here, there's nothing out here. This little GPU thing is a battery box. So I hit connect to GPU and it's got a little battery box. You see a little cord going up into the plane here. This is going to help us get started. So go to the overhead panel. Next I put the battery on, and then we're going to connect to that GPU unit. Okay, so you hear stuff spooling up. That means we're successfully connected. Switch this over to ground power. We can check our volts. And then the first thing I do is I go up here and get these IRSs aligned. So click them both over to nav. These lights will both extinguish and then they'll go to align. To check your time, switch this over to HDG STS. And then you'll see your time right up here. Mine is 1 because I've got this set to a short time. I'll show you over here. The settings, go to realism settings, and then you'll see align time, real, long, or short. The real time and the long time are both, I believe, 10 minutes plus. So for this tutorial I got it on short so we don't waste time sitting waiting for the IRS to align. So next what I do is I go to fuel. I've entered all this in previous based off my flight plan I've got off of SimBrief. So if you use SimBrief, it's free. It's pretty cool. It sets everything up for you. You just transfer all the data from the flight plan onto this Zibo iPad and in the FMC, and you'll be on your way. So after you get all this set up, you can look over here and it's automatically transferred into the plane here. So next what we do is I'm going to get the FMC set up. So I click on FMC here. We're going to go to position in it. We're going to go to reference airport. So like I said, we're going to be taking off from KTPA, Tampa International Airport. It usually, here let me nav data edit date. So when I just click that in, it put it down here, but those were just some messages we had that I could clear out. So KTPA, reference airport, boom. So now you see we got a lat and long position here. So you're going to hit next page, and then up here is 2 lat and longs. Click one of them. It's going to put it down in the scratch pad here. Now you're going to go back, hit previous page, and then all these boxes, they're asking for information. So you're just going to click on that. It's going to put it in there. It'll disappear. Once it disappears, now we have some information in our displays here. So now the plane knows where we're at. Now we need to enter and let it know where we're going. Gate information, you can enter that if you want. I'm sitting here at Charlie 37 Southwest gate. Then you're going to go to route. So origin airport is going to be KTPA. We've already entered that, so they put it down there for us. Destination is going to be KMIA, Miami International. We're going to be departing from runway 19 left. That's off of my flight plan. And flight number is going to be Southwest Airlines 6589. I just made that number up. You don't have to really put a flight number in if you don't want. Okay, so what we're going to do next is our zero fuel weight. All you have to do right here is just click that and it enters everything in for you. So reserves, I got 2.8 in my flight plan. And then cost index, I put in 10 here. This is just basically, from what I understand, companies use this for, it's like a car, like your miles per gallon. To save money, this cost index will tell the plane to ease up on the throttle and take it easy on the fuel so they don't burn so much fuel. If they're doing good, they want to make the passengers happy, they'll probably raise this cost index so you can blaze and get there in time or get there ahead of time. But companies regulate this from what I understand. It's just basically a fuel management thing. So next we're going to enter our cruising altitude, which for this flight off my plan is 200. That is 20,000 feet. Hit execute. Go to M1 limit. And now we're going to set in, so the temperature right here is 15 degrees Celsius. You can either enter that in manually, or you can just click the button here and Zibo puts it in for you. So that's all we need to do on this page. Now we're going to go to our takeoff profile. My plan has us at flaps 10. Enter that. Center of gravity. Again, just click the button and it puts everything in. It's also going to give you your takeoff trim. So our takeoff trim is 3.54. To set that, you just come right down here and then you look at this little green tab here. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So ours was 3.5. Just scroll this up. Right in between the 3 and the 4 is about right. So right about there. So now we got our takeoff trim set. And then for our V limits, just click, click, and click. You're done. So now we've got our takeoff profile set up. Next, what we're going to need to do is go in here and set up our departures and arrivals. So KTPA, we're going to set up our departure. Right here, your runways will be listed, but we've already put ours in earlier. If you remember, I put mine in 19 left. If you don't put yours in, you can put it in here. There'll be a bunch set up and you can choose which one you want. And then from there, it's going to give you the SID. So my SID we're going to be using is Gandhi 7 based off my plan, and we're going to be transitioning through Sabi. So after we get all these selected, our runway, our transition, and our SIDs, we're going to click route, then you're going to click activate, then we execute. So what that did was just put some legs in here. So if you look, we're going, and it put our all our legs in here all the way up to the Sabi. That's the last one we picked, our transition. So we've got everything set up. Now we need to do our arrival. So now we go to departures and arrival again. KMIA. Go to arrival. Here's the approaches. I'm going to pick 09 is mine based off my flight plan. I'm going to do an instrument landing on 09. And our stars is going to be CYY8. So CYY8 here. It does not have us using a transition, so I'm not going to use a transition. If your flight plan has one, just go ahead and select it here. So now I'm going to execute, and now we should have a good plan. So we're going to go to legs here, and we're going to look. We've got everything going all the way down. There's runway 09. So a few things we need to do to clean this up, and a few things I do on my own you don't have to do, but vectors, I'm not using a air traffic control here. So vector is basically where they send you to get further guidance. X-Plane 11's air traffic control is not the best, so I'm just gonna fly like a rebel here and not use any air traffic control. So I can take this vector out, and the way I do that is you click on the one right below it, Gandhi. If you see it, just popped it right down here, and then all we do is click on vector and it moves everything up. Hit execute, and there's your new plan. We also had something else, I don't know if you notice here, route discontinuity. So that means there's a disconnect in the route. So what we need to do is take that out and show it that we're going direct to CYY from the disconnect. So the way we do that is the same way we just took out that vector. Click on the one right below it, CYY. Click on the boxes, and it's gone. Hit execute. So now we have a smooth plan with all our legs in there. So next we're going to go up here, and I'm going to go through some... Oh, I wanted to show you something. So this thing's pretty cool. You hit start leg, and it simulates like a boarding process. People are coming on board, and it simulates people putting their bags and getting in their chairs and everything. It's pretty cool. So I'm going to go up here and go through some flows. We're going to turn the yaw damper on. This basically makes sure that light extinguishes. This basically keeps us steady from our swaying left to right when we're in the air. It'll help dampen the yaw pretty much. So go down here. We're going to turn one of these fuel pumps on. We're still on ground power, so we're going to keep that on. Flow down through here. Everything's looking good. Right here, if you need to turn the panel lights up, you can do that right here. You can see they're getting bright. We're going to turn emergency exit lights on. Turn the seatbelt sights on. We're going to turn these
Captain has turned the fasten seatbelt sign. We
window
direct all
heats.
passengers take your seat at this time and please fasten your seatbelt.
Hydraulic pumps on.
2000 reminder, we cannot leave the gate until all carrying items are properly put away. All overhead bins are closed and all passengers are seated.
Trim air. Packs. So basically this is, so these are the air conditions right here. When you turn these on, it gets air conditioning flowing. This thing basically keeps every zone at the same temperature, so you don't have a really cold in the back of the plane and warm in the front. It kind of keeps it steady throughout. So we got the packs left and right on for AC. We're going to turn the APU bleed on. And we're going to set our cruising altitude, which is 20,000. Oop. This is our pressurization panel. And then our landing altitude is going to be 0. So we're going to keep our strobe lights on to steady. We'll turn anti-collision on. And then we are going to start the APU now. So to start the APU, what you do, you come down here.
Flight attendants prepare for departure, cross-check and all call, thank you.
Turn on. Wait till this light comes on right here. So once that light's on, you click, hold. And then once that needle goes,
What's strapped in? Give us a ring if you need anything.
it's going to continue going up. Okay, so the flight attendant just shut and locked the door for us. They got everything ready. I think that's pretty cool. You can open it, and you can hear all the background chatter and stuff. If you want, you don't have to. So, back to the APU. You're going to keep watching. This is going to go up to 8, and it's going to come back down to about 5 right here. And then when it comes down to 5, there's going to be a light that turns on right here. That's going to let us know the APU gen is available.
Forward boarding door has been closed. Once again, we do need all passengers to remain seated at this time. Please double check the security
So
of
now the
your
APU is
seatbelt.
available.
All electronic devices do need to be turned off and
Click
put away
both.
at this time. This does include all cellular
Okay, we're
phones
now
and
on
two-way features.
APU gen.
Flight attendants, please prepare your doors for departure and cross-check.
So we'll switch over here, APU gen. Now that we have APU gen on, we no longer need our GPU. So we'll disconnect from GPU, and it's gone. Okay, so we've got our APU started. Everything's looking good. We'll go down through our flows one more time. So we'll go up here. You can turn your fuel pumps on now. We'll go up. Everything in here looks good. We got our circuit breakers, lights. I don't know what this chimes only is. Maybe like a no smoking sign or something. Okay, so everything looks good. We got our APU bleed on. Lights are on. So now what we're going to do is set up the autopilot here. Oh, another thing I wanted to show you, I kind of forgot, but if you look at this master caution here, when you start the plane, a bunch of these are going to be lit up. And as you get stuff set up, I'll show you here. So now we got electric and fuel set up saying, hey, there's a caution that we need to take care of. As you start stuff up, these lights extinguish. So by the end of this, everything should be extinguished and we can reset the master caution. So now we're going to set up the autopilot here. Okay, I'm going to turn the auto throttle on.
And so many airlines that can
Hold on one second.
So we thank you.
Sorry. Okay, so we turn auto throttle on. And then we're going to turn the flight directors on here. One and the other one. Speed, I usually set this speed up to usually about 200. This really doesn't matter because the the information we put in the FMC, it's going to go off of that. But we just set this just in case we need to arm this. We'll have a decent speed to start at. So heading, we're departing on 19 left. So we're going to do our runway heading, which is 19. If you look down here and you see this dotted line right here, this is going to show your heading. So, whoops, that's just the bank heading. So we're going to go to 19. See the dots down there moving. We're going to go to 190 for our runway 19, and then we're going to go altitude, which was 20,000. Set. Okay, so that's easy. That's pretty much the autopilot in a quick nutshell. Then you're going to hit VNav and LNav, and then when we get up to about 1,000, I'm going to fly this thing manually till we get to about 1,000 feet, and then I'm going to hit the command button right here. That's going to kick in the autopilot, and it's going to start flying all that stuff we just entered in the FMC. So next we're going to do auto brake here. We're going to set this auto brake to RTO. Watch that light extinguish. Okay, we're good. So what that basically does is if we need to abort the landing, we're going to take our throttles and throw them all the way back, and that's going to tell the plane that we're aborting the takeoff, and it's going to slam on the brakes for us. We just keep this during takeoff. Once we hit the air, we're going to clean this up, turn it to off, and then for landing, what you'll do is set this to 1, 2, 3, or max, depending on. If you're a heavy plane with a short runway, you're going to want to put it on max, and it'll max brake it when you land. If it's a light plane, you got plenty of runway, do 2 or 1 if you want. So anyways, we've got the autopilot set up. We've got our overhead looking really good right now. We've got the AC going. So next what we're going to do is set up our pushback. So I have the plug-in better pushback, which is amazing. It's pretty cool. This plug-in has never crashed, never gave me any problems at all. I think this is probably the most stable thing I've ever put freeware on my X-Plane files. So what you do is just click better pushback. You're going to pre-plan it. If you look, I've already got this set up, but you can take and put this plane wherever you want, and you rotate your mouse wheel, and it'll take the plane and it'll push you back to wherever you want. So when you're ready, you just click on it and then hit enter.
Ground to cockpit, plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you are ready.
Okay, so we are ready. Question pushback.
Ground to cockpit, tow is driving up.
Okay, so one thing I do while the tow is driving up is I'll put this to PLN, plan, and I want to show you guys something here. So what you do right here on the FMC, you're just going to hit steps, and it's going to take you through every leg. If you see this CTR, watch it. It'll move when you hit from leg to leg, see? So we're going through, checking each leg, making sure everything looks good. And right up here, if you see, we're coming in, and then it's got us coming to this DHP right here. And then coming all the way back here, and then landing on the runway. So this isn't good. These are sharp turns. We'll never make this. So what we want to do is take this out, and the way we do that, the same way we did the vectors.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
The same way we did the vectors and the discontinuity. We're going to click on the one right below it, GRITT, and click on it. So just hit execute, and now if you see, we're not coming up here, and back here, and back here. We're coming straight in and then hitting the runway. So that's a little thing I do while we're waiting for this thing to get us all set up, and then I go back to map. If you look, this thing is cool. Watch it. Literally lifts the plane up. So it's lifting the front of our plane up here.
Tow connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Okay, so we're going to release our parking brake and get permission to start the engines here.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
Okay, so to start engines, one very important thing, I could not figure out why my engines weren't starting, but you need to turn your packs left and right. You need to turn these packs off or the engine's not going to go above 20%. So turn the AC off for a little bit. What you're going to do is go down here and you're going to click this over to ground. And then you're going to go down here and you're going to look right here. The right engine spooling up. It's at 5, 6, 7. When this gets to about 25%, we're going to introduce some fuel to it right here. So it's at 19, 20. Okay, 23, 24. Take this lever all the way up. And you're going to see this thing keep spooling. Like I said, without those packs, this thing's going to stop at 20%. So make sure you got them packs set up. Okay, let's go outside. Check it. Okay, we have good. Okay, now this automatically goes back to auto when it reaches a certain point. So what we're going to do is click the next one to ground, and then same thing. Wait for this. Okay, we're at 8%, 9. Oh, another thing I want to do is welcome the passengers. Okay. Fuel.
Operation complete. Go ahead and set the parking brake.
Okay. Set the parking brake. Now,
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
as I said, you can see there's no more lit up things here, so we can reset the master caution here. And then once we got both these engines running, they've clicked to auto, you can click them to continuous. Okay, they're both on continuous now. So another thing we do, or another thing I do, okay, we're disconnected, parking brakes on, we're good. So I'm going to go through here, and now we got the engines running. We can turn this APU off and go to generator. So we're going to go down all the way through here. We can turn the probe heats on now. Go down through here, turn the AC back on.
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the right. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
Okay, we're going to turn the APU bleed off. I'm going to come down here and start the generators. Okay, generators on. This is showing that the APU still is on. Look, I'm going to go ahead and turn it off right here. Okay, APU's off. Now we got a nice overhead panel here. No lights are on that shouldn't be on. All the master caution lights are off. We've got our plane set up and ready to go. So now we would request air traffic control takeoff, but I'm not using air traffic control. So we're going to go out here. We're going to go direct to the runway and get this thing up in the air. So parking brakes off. A little throttle. brakes on. Just check everything. Okay, flaps are set 10. We've got our auto throttle on. Everything is looking good. Okay, we're gonna go up here. So this is what triggers them. If you put the wing light.
Flight attendants prepare for takeoff, please.
Put some no prepare for takeoff. Seatbelt signs on.
Okay, the cabin is secured. Have a good flight.
Okay, all we need to do now, give it a little throttle, parking brakes off. Keep this thing in the center of the runway. And then over here, right here, this button down here, click on it. It's going to click in the N1 limits that we had. So now I don't even need to give it any fuel. It automatically throttles.
80 knots. V1, rotate.
Okay, rotate.
Positive rate.
Positive rate. Gear up. Okay, 1,000 now. I'm going to hit this command button right here. Now autopilot's going to take over. So now we're going to clean up the plane a little. We're going to take some flaps. Put our flaps down. You see right here, this is the flaps indicator. And then right here is the knob. So we're going to get our flaps down to 0. We're going to turn this back to off right before landing. Like I said, we'll switch this to 1, 2, or 3 depending on what we need, how much runway we have. Okay, so our flaps are cleaned up. Parking brakes off. Now we can take the landing gear here and set it to off. Good, we're following our flight. So by the time we hit Gandy, we should be at 250 knots at about 7,000. Usually this keeps changing based off the speed and everything, but we should be right around that height. feet. What I do, I'll come over here and the co-pilot's FMC. Just go in here, FMC. What I'll do is I'll hit this top left init reference. So this is going to show our approach reference. So I keep this on as a reference here. It's going to show you the flaps and the speed you should be at on final. And then another thing I do with the co-pilot's stuff is I take and I zoom his out, his little flight thing here. So zoom it out so I get a little heads up on what's going on, and then if I want to see mine, I get a closer view right here. So if you look on here real quick, our approach reference, I might be getting a little ahead of myself, but I don't want you guys to be bored while we're climbing at 20,000. If you look right here, 110.90, that's our ILS frequency. So those are going to be on our nav radio stacks right here. And I've already got those set in here. So what you do right here is you just hit this switch button and it switches these. So it took my 110.90, put it over here. So whatever one you want to switch, you're going to switch it here. And then switch it. When you're done switching it, you want to activate it. You click that over and now it's the active one. And you can even change this one back to the next one and constantly change it if you want. Okay, it's 17,000 feet. At 18,000 feet, we're going to take off. If you see, it's already started. So the altimeter goes to standard, 18,000 feet and above. So you're going to take this and just click this standard right here. And there you go. Goes to standard, you're good. So we have about 2 more thousand feet before we're at our top of climb.
1,000 to go.
Okay, 1,000 feet to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again from the flight deck, we've leveled off now at our cruising altitude. We're going to go ahead and turn off the fasten the seatbelt sign. I'd like to correctly ask if you are saving your seats to keep those seatbelts comfortably fastened for your safety. Onboard computer showing an on-time arrival, no ATC delays either. We're going to stay quiet up here, have you enjoy the flight and the service. Once again, welcome aboard.
Okay, so now what you do, take this, run it all the way down to 0. That way if you forget, it'll follow this. You see we're not nosediving, it's staying at 20,000 feet. But this is going to stop. This is the ceiling right here. So if you keep this at 20,000 feet, when we hit our descent, it's not going to go because this thing's going to be at 20,000 feet. So I run this all the way down to 0. You can run it down to each flight level if you want, but I always forget. So I run it down all the way to 0. And then you should be good. And basically from now you're just going to hit each waypoint and it's going to follow the speed and the flight level. So it's 20,000 feet, then we're going to go down to 12,000, 9,000, 3,000, 1,300, and then we're going to hit our runway. So that's pretty much how they get this thing going and up in the air. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please go ahead and comment below. Go ahead and like this if you liked it. If not, have a good one. Thanks for watching.